guys, Vass here from Aussie RC Playground and welcome to another unboxing. Today we're going to be looking at the Losi 8ightT. Now this is a 1/8 scale 4-wheel drive gas powered Truggy. That's right, it is gas powered, so don't adjust your sets, everything is fine. I've just decided to get something a little different for the channel, a little bit different for myself as well. And yeah, I decided to pick up one of these guys. Now, the reason why I picked this up, well, there's really one main reason, but there are a couple others that go with it, is because of the price. Horizon Hobby were having this huge sale where they had this guy for like $300 US. They had the buggy version for about $269 or $279 US. And then they even had the Mini Cooper, the 1/5 scale, which is based on the Losi 8ightT. They had that guy going for about $700 US. My friend Paul, who you guys may have seen through some RC Race Wars videos in the past and maybe even some airplane videos, he actually brought it to my attention. I was chatting to Chris and Jeremy from RC Militia, Chris from Hemistorm products I'm referring to, and yeah, we sort of all jumped on it. We all bought one. I got myself one. I know Jeremy's already done the unboxing for his because obviously he lives in the US, so he got it a lot quicker than I did. But even so, I ordered this on Wednesday. Today is Sunday, and this thing arrived this morning, so very quick turnaround. Chris is still waiting for his, unfortunately, because Horizon wouldn't actually ship the car to him, so he got his buddy Reed from Urban RC LA, who also bought one for himself, and he shipped it to Chris in Norway. So Chris is currently waiting for his to arrive as of the time of this filming. So as I was saying, this is a 1/8 scale 4-wheel drive Truggy. It does come with AVC, which I know a lot of people are a bit iffy about. I know Jeremy doesn't like it very much, which I can understand because it does get in the way of your driving skill if you know what you're doing. I strongly believe that AVC should really be included in 2-wheel drive vehicles as opposed to 4-wheel drive vehicles, purely because, I mean, even my kids who don't have a huge amount of experience with RC cars, I can give them any 4-wheel drive vehicle and they can handle it pretty well. I don't really see the need of them needing a AVC on a 4x4. But on a 2-wheel drive vehicle, even somebody like me that does have I would consider myself to be fairly skilled with my cars, when it comes to 2-wheel drive, there is a certain finesse that you need, and AVC certainly helps you in keeping the car in a straight line and making sure that you don't go on the power too early, and it really helps stabilize the car when you're driving on a slippery surface. So that's where I think AVC should really come into it. On a 4-wheel drive vehicle like this, especially a race-inspired car, you know, AVC can't even be used in races anyway, so if you are going to get something like this that comes with AVC, you're going to be forced to take it out because they won't let you race with it, or at least I don't believe they would, because you'll have a very unfair advantage. So, gas-powered. Why did I get gas-powered? And before we continue, I am going to clarify this very quickly. I put a couple of pictures of this guy up on my Facebook page, and a few people actually commented saying that, hey, Aussie RC Playgrounds picked up a nitro car. It's not nitro. It runs on 2-stroke fuel. Totally different engine. May sound very, very similar, but they don't, no, it's not the same. So that's why I went for this guy as well, because if it was nitro, I probably would have skipped over it regardless of what price it is. And I know a lot of people have asked me about nitro in the past. I've had a nitro, many years ago I had nitro and I didn't have a very good experience with it. And that's why I really haven't gone back into it, because I didn't enjoy it. And I don't like to get into this whole electric versus nitro business either. I mean, I believe in RC being RC. If you like gas-powered cars, go for it. If you like nitro-powered cars, go for it. If you like cars that are powered by your dog's farts, go for it. I don't really care, as long as you enjoy the hobby, because it is a great hobby to be in, to get into. I mean, I've met a lot of friends all around the world. I've just mentioned 3 of them. It's great to be involved in this hobby regardless of what type of RC you run. And gas powered doesn't bother me. I'm going to learn to use this guy as best as I can, and hopefully, you know, bring you guys along with me for the ride, and yeah, we should have a lot of fun. So let's get rid of that, because I've already taken the car out of the box. Gee, that made a lot of noise, didn't it? And of course I had to take it out of the box on this occasion, purely because I really wanted to sort of look over the car and know exactly what sort of information to give back to you guys. I'm not going to get into too much nitty-gritty as far as the engine goes and all the clutches and all that business, because I'm very unfamiliar with it. But I am going to tell you some, you know, front and rear of the car. That is something that is very common even on electric cars, of course, and I'll be able to give you some feedback on that. Now, in the box, you will get a great big box that you will need to sort of, take everything out. You'll figure it out, I'm sure. This guy does come with a starter box as well, which is one thing that really, that I really like about it, to be honest with you, because when I had the Nitro car, I had a pull start, and that thing was just a nightmare. You just sit there forever trying to start the thing, and then eventually the pull start broke, and I was ready to throw that thing off a building. So having a starter box like this come straight with the car, I think it's a big plus. Did have these plastic components inside the actual starter box, so I'm gonna have to figure out what these are for and how it all goes together. It does run on 2 batteries though, 2 6-cell nickel metal hydrate battery packs, and the box does have those Molex or Tamiya connectors, so you will need to make sure that you have batteries that are compatible with that, or change out the connectors yourself, entirely up to you. You do get some 2-stroke oil. Now, I believe that Losi are very strict on what type of oil you use for this particular engine. So don't think that you can just rip the oil out of your lawnmower or something like that and you can use it in here, because it may not be ideal. I would stick to whatever Losi recommends. That's what I'm going to be going with, at least for now, until somebody else tells me different, purely because, as I said, my experience is limited, and I'm going to be reading this manual front to back to make sure I understand everything that's going on with this car, and that way I don't make any mistakes. You do get some tools as well. There is a 17mm hex wrench in here for your wheel nuts. There's also this little guy, which I'm yet to find out what that's for. Probably for the spark plug, I'm assuming. Some Allen keys, a turnbuckle wrench, which is good for adjusting your camber and toe. Binding plug, it's only a little one. And then you get a couple of little plastic tools in there as well, which again, I'm yet to find out what I'm going to be using them for. In this little white box over here, there is a Lipo battery. It's only a very small Lipo battery. I'll see if I can get this to focus up on camera. But it is only, I think, a 1300 milliamp. Let me see here if I can get this to focus. There we are. All right, so that's the little guy that you get. It does come with a, I think it's called a JST connector. 1300 milliamp 2S. Now this, of course, will power up my receiver and power up my servo as well. And we'll see how long that lasts. Hopefully it'll give me, some good runtime. I may need to get a spare, because once I get the car running properly, I'm just going to be filling it up and going. I want to make sure that I have a Lipo battery ready to go if that one runs out. The manual, I had a bit of a flick through it. Very comprehensive. I mean, this thing's an encyclopedia of information, and it does come in a few different languages as well. Running in the engine on this car, according to the manual, you're supposed to go through 16 tanks. The first 8 are crucial. You need to pay very close attention to the engine temperature. Make sure that you don't give it too much speed. Be very, very careful about running this in for the first 8 tanks. And then after that, you can be a little bit more liberal, but you still have to watch yourself for the last 8. Once you've gone through 16 tanks, then you should be pretty much ready to go. And just give this thing a thrashing until, you're done with it. So that is the what I'm planning to do anyway. The remote is a Spectrum DX2E. This is the same remote that I got with my Viterra Helix that I bought almost 2 years ago now, I think, or about 2 years ago. This one is the one that works with AVC, so your steering dual rate knob up here will actually turn AVC down, so when you have it all the way down, it will actually be off, or you can turn it all the way up, which gives you full assistance. I am going to be running AVC with this Truggy because I want to see how it's going to work with the gas engine. I know how it works with a brushless RC, but I'm very curious to see how it's going to work. I don't think it's going to be that different, but I'm going to be hearing it and just seeing how it performs and what sort of effect it does. They do provide batteries for your remotes. It does run on 4AA's, and they give you these Sony batteries, which is kind of odd. But they do give you batteries for the remote. Remote's great. I don't have an issue with this guy at all. I love it. This is the one that I hooked up to my Armour Raider XL, which is a two-wheel drive buggy, and that's where I found AVC to work the best, was on that buggy. So let's grab the car, bring it up to the camera so you guys can have a nice close look at it. This has got a very nice color scheme. I really like the color and the body and everything else. Very impressed with it. There is that big engine. Well, at least it looks big, sticking out of the back. It does have a braided line here. So this goes into like an ignition box in the back here. Shocks, sway bars. It does come with front and rear sway bars pre-mounted. You got adjustable camber, adjustable tow. It's just, I mean, this is a race buggy essentially. It's really well built and well put together. The body itself does feel really hard up the top. I have put already a little magnet in here just for my body pins. Look, it doesn't feel too bad. It feels kind of tough, I should say. I think it has pretty good thickness, especially up the top. It feels really strong up the top, which is very good because obviously if you flip the car upside down, you know that the body should be able to take a bit of a beating on top. All right, let's bring this up to the camera once again, give you a bit of a quick shot of the internals. Here is what this guy looks like, and I'll flip him around the other way so you can have another look there. Get this out of the way, so that's just for the fuel tank there. All right. Now, what can I tell you? Receiver box where the Losi badge is there, that's where my receiver is. This is where the little 2S battery is going to go. This, I believe, is like an ignition box or something. I read it before. It says capacitor discharge ignition. There you go. That's what it says. It's got two servos, of course, one for steering, one for your throttle and brake. The servos are a little bit different. One says Spectrum S6100. The other one says Spectrum S601H. Don't know what that means, but hopefully they do the job. And that to me is what matters. Everything is Hex hardware, really well built Truggy. Before I forget as well, the rear spoiler does not come pre-mounted on the car. You will need to mount that on yourself, as well as put the stickers on the spoiler. The spoiler will come sort of mounted or packed underneath the car itself. The car comes sort of zip tied to this like box. So just keep that in mind. Don't throw out all the boxes that you think are empty because, well, there's a spoiler in one of them, the one that's underneath the car. Just keep that in mind. Tires. Tires on this Truggy feel fantastic. I love the feel of these tires. They have a sort of medium to firm insert, very much race inspired. I really like the tire feel on this. Feels almost like a Proline tire, to be honest with you. I think these are going to be holding up very, very well out on the BMX track where I run these cars. I think this is going to work very nicely. Suspension. I'm going to simply say, I mean, I had a bit of a feel of the suspension before. The suspension on this Truggy just feels like silk. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I honestly believe that the suspension on this is going to be setting the standard for every other Truggy that I get and have currently. As you can see, I got a couple of them back there. That's my ST4, my Italian, and that's the Sabertooth up the front, up the top there from Hobby King. The Italian was very much, well, it was probably the closest one to this one as far as I can remember, but the springs were way too soft and they were quite short. So this one is a lot better, and I think this is going to perform very, very nicely. It does have droop screws pre-installed, yes it does, and they look like they've put them in a spot that's very easy to access. So well done to Losi for thinking of us that way. Really appreciate that. It does have CVDs. The reason why I say that about the droop screws is because to adjust the droop screws on the Italian at the front, you got to remove the top A-arm, which is a pain. But on this one here, I can see that they're very easily accessible. So really quick and easy to adjust your droop screws. These shocks are aluminium bodied, of course. They do have threaded bodies, and they do have a little bleeder hole at the top here for when you refill them. There are 3 adjustment points on your shock towers at the front for your shocks, 2 on the A-arms, 3 adjustment points for the shocks on the rear shock tower, and 3 on the A-arms. So plenty of adjustability there. Another thing I noticed as well, if you have a look at this center drive shaft that goes towards the rear diff, it's off center. Now, one of the recent buggies that I unboxed was the Thunder Tiger Bushmaster, had that exact same setup. So this is the second car I've had that has this setup, and I like it. I think it's very, very cool. As I was saying, it does have CVDs in the front, rear dog bones in the back, rear dog bones in the back. Okay, so which is pretty standard for these type of cars, and that's really all there is to say at this time. I will say one last thing: the A-arms on this are extremely strong. These things are very beefed up. You can have a look, a bit of a shot of the chassis there, just to get the camera to focus, so you can see just how thick these things are. And here's the rear. So, whoop, let me see if I can get a better shot here. Here we go. Look at that. Very thick A-arms. I think these are going to hold up very, very nicely. The air filter here does already have a little bit of oil in it. I didn't put that there. That came like that. But of course, I will have to get some more oil to make sure that it's lubed, so I don't get any dust in there and so forth. On and off switch for the battery or receiver and everything else is at the back here. What else can I tell you? The chassis, the thickness of this chassis, I believe, is 4 millimeters, because it is noticeably thicker than my other chassis that I've got on my other Truggies. So this is definitely a thicker chassis. The car does have some weight to it, but I will say this weighs about as much as one of my other brushless Truggies with the batteries in them. So it's really not any heavier than a brushless RC when you think about it. Now this doesn't have fuel, but the tank is not that big. I don't think it's going to add that much of weight to the car in comparison to the other ones that I have. But I'm definitely going to be, testing it out against my other cars and just see how it performs. Obviously, once I get it all running and everything. Shock towers look to be about 4 millimeters thick, which is good. And I have seen some upgraded shock towers as well. I think these are actually pressed aluminium, but you can get machine ones, which I think are like a champagne color or something. They look fantastic. They look really nice. That's pretty much where I'm going to leave it here, guys. I don't want to sort of yak on too long. I think I've shown you everything there is to show you on the car. I can't really talk too much about what's in here because, as I said, this is new to me, and I'm going to be learning and hopefully giving you guys some feedback at a later stage through a review. Because the way I'm approaching this is from somebody that say, if you've always been into brushless RCs, just like I have, and you've thought about maybe getting into gas-powered RCs, and you've always been a little bit intimidated by it, well, I'm going to be the guinea pig here. I'm going to try it out. I do have some friends to help me. Of course, Chris from Hemistorm. I talk with him all the time, so hopefully he'll give me some pointers when he gets his and gets started tuning his up. My friend Paul, who has a Losi 8ightT, he's got some experience in this field as well, so he's going to be coming over and helping me and keeping a close eye on what I do to make sure I get this thing running correctly. And hopefully everything goes well, and then of course I'll give you guys some feedback on my learning curve and making sure that anybody else that wants to try out these cars can do so without being too scared, because it is a completely different thing from charging up some batteries and plugging a couple of wires into some of those Truggies back there, or any other electric RC for that matter. Now, I'm not going to be filming the running in process. I think that's really a boring thing to show on YouTube. I may get some footage of it that perhaps I'll use come review time, but I'm not going to upload myself, running around in figure eights or in circles just to run the Truggy in. It doesn't make any sense. So you may have to wait a little bit until I get through all the tanks, and yeah, then I'll upload a proper running video and show you exactly how this thing goes. But that is it from me, guys. If you have any questions, any comments, leave them in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check out the video description. I'll have links in there to Urban RC LA, Hemistorm, which I'm sure a lot of you are subscribed to already, and of course RC Militia as well. So you guys can go check out his unboxing and the other guys' unboxings as well. I think I'm done talking. I'm going to get myself ready to run this guy in, charge up some batteries, well, for the receiver anyway, and hopefully get a running video up to you guys as soon as possible. Thank you all very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button before you go, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will speak to you guys next time. I am in fact unboxing. Today we're going to be looking at the Losi, I was going to say 8ightT, I wish, from Horizon Hobby, which is a 1/8 scale 4-wheel drive brushless Truggy. No, it's not brushless. I haven't hijacked someone else's RC channel like Chris's from do not adjust your phones, TV sets, laptop computers or anything. Or what, laptop computers? Where am I, a grandpa? Jesus. Don't you dare adjust your screens, young lads. Everything is fine. It's just a gas-powered car. What, like an old woman? I sound like the freaking Queen of England. See, I know, for those of you who don't follow the channel, you'll know that, well, you won't know because you don't follow the channel. What? Scale Truggy, and it is in fact Gus. It's Gus. You hear me? It's Gus. Gus Bus. Haha, Gus Bus.